Hi, I'm Mattie. It's just short for Martha, but actually I prefer that people call me Mattie. So I'm 21. I was born in Manila, Philippines, and I've spent my whole life there. So I actually only got to go to Japan in 2018 for like a short exchange trip, and then I decided I wanted to study abroad.
My name is Alyana. I'm 19 years old. Basically, for me, I'm similar to Mattie as well. I was born in the Philippines, Manila specifically, and I grew up there until just last year, and then I moved to Japan to study.
For me, I actually learned about GDP specifically through a flyer that I found in a college fair. So there was a college fair in Manila. And I remember that I picked it up because it was like a university based in Japan, and I was really interested in studying in Japan because like for as long as maybe since I was a kid, I've always been interested in Japanese culture and Japanese living. So it was one of my dreams to actually study in Japan. That was when I found that flyer, it was around 2 years before I applied. So I just kept that at the back of my mind. So when I started preparing for applications for college, I listed Okayama University as one of my choices, and because of the application season of Okayama, I had to apply for it first, and I really gave my all because I really like the curriculum of GDP, and what I like the mixture of classes. Like you can take a class in science and you can take a class in politics, and putting that together is like actually one of my interests. So I kept that in mind while during my application because it was like a very confusing time. I prepared my application really well, I think, and it was 2 stages, right? So there's a documents process and there was an interview process, and I think I made it clear in both of those stages that I had a kind of a clear plan for what I wanted to learn and why I wanted to study in Japan. And I think they recognized that. That's why I was awarded the Discovery Scholarship, which is a full tuition scholarship for at least each year I keep up high grades.
I just found out about Okayama University specifically first in the internet. I was interested in taking agriculture, but when I searched for agricultural universities in Japan, Okayama is one of the universities I found. And then one of the problems I had if I did study in Japan was the language barrier. So like it's a good thing that I actually found that there is a program that Okayama University is offering in English. So I'm actually able to learn agriculture in English, but then when I came to Japan, I kind of realized that like I'm maybe not on the agriculture side because my goal is more on agricultural business. So it's more on food, but then I kind of realized that maybe the agricultural part is not for me, so maybe I'll just go to the business part. So that's why this coming term, I'll be studying more on business more than agriculture and science.
There's lots of types of classes because usually depending on how the teacher wants to teach their subject, and there's a big difference also between like the lecture type classes in science and the group discussion type of classes in like anthropology and sort of economics, which though it's kind of a mix. I actually preferred the group discussion more. Like I had this class in my second term here, which was cross-cultural experiences, and it really highlighted the strength of the program, which is to bring together a lot of people from different backgrounds and actually have them share perspectives and learn things about how each person is coming from a different background. So like I learned a lot through that class, not only because of the teacher and her lessons, but also because of how everyone was sharing their own like unique story. Although I also prefer the lecture sometimes, but for me, what stands out in GDP is really the group discussion type.
Actually, I took the same class.
We took the same class.
We took the same class. I actually agree with her that I do like those discussion-based classes. So basically, but then most of the classes that offer those kinds of class types are the cultural classes, and so sometimes I feel like maybe be some like when you actually kind of look at the course titles, it kind of doesn't seem like it's like not for everybody. Like sometimes people might think like, oh, I don't need this though, but then when people actually take it, they're gonna find out that, oh, I have learned a lot, and just because the course title says something that you're not interested in doesn't mean that what the learnings or other stuff that you actually get in the class
you can apply it to your daily life.
So those are for the cultural classes. So for the business classes, they're more on lecture types. And what's good about them, I guess, is that they really give you the textbooks and the books wherein they actually use to get what they want to teach, what they need to teach. And they also actually offer optional readings. So when they offer optional readings, you actually get to know more instead of the ones that are needed. So if you want to learn more, you can learn more. So if you don't want to learn it, then it's okay. Okayama is... So for me, I've never been to Japan before actually having to come to Okayama. But then there was actually a time when me, Mattie, Nava also, we actually were able to go to Osaka, Kyoto, Nara over the winter break before. And then I kind of found out how like different Okayama is from Osaka and all the other...
In a good way?
It's in a good way, yeah. Because Okayama, like, it's not a lot of people. So it's very peaceful. So it's not very crowded. It's actually normal that you don't see anyone in the street. But then, to be honest, like, it's really, really nice because the atmosphere is nice, the ambiance is nice. If you go out, there's like... It's very convenient, basically.
Life in Japan is really convenient. Like, we can go everywhere by bike, and that's already kind of mind-blowing for us who came from a really busy city. And like what she said, I also like the very easy, peaceful pace of Okayama because I actually thought about it. Like when we traveled to Osaka, like it's a really fun place. Like there's so many experiences you can get. But if I'm thinking about living and studying here, I actually don't think I can keep up with the stress of living in a city. So like Okayama is a really good combination of both rural and urban. Like you can like from 10 minutes in the hill, take 10 minutes by bike and then you're already in the busy city center. So that kind of experience is actually like a blessing for me. And then I really also like the freedom. Well, it's also associated to like moving alone to study abroad. Like it's our time away from family. We can kind of not think about curfews or like strict parents. But you know, that's like that kind of freedom. It's like part of what makes college life kind of fun. And I like spending it here because what I mentioned already.
So usually I kind of draw a lot. So my hobbies are just more on painting and drawing, mostly fashion design. But then another thing actually I like about Japan is that the art materials. So I really like art. When you go to different places like stationery shops or even as simple as Daiso, they actually do have a lot of stuff that you can use for drawing and painting and also just crafts. But besides that, what I do in the weekend is try to study kanji. I got to buy some books. I try to study.
It depends on the mood and the weather. I feel like because during August I actually didn't really go out too much because it was very hot. But I'm glad that Okayama is like relatively safe from Corona. So sometimes we go out to cute cafes or just go out and have like a talk with friends. So usually just us and some other friends. And well, on Sundays I go to church. Yes, I'm actually really grateful that there's a Catholic church in the city. And after that, I also do arts. We actually share also same hobbies. And during Corona, I thought that since everything is online, I can actually try to reach out more I do some volunteering online with environmental organizations in the Philippines. And since Corona put everything online, I'm able to help, and I help through graphic design and also doing and managing social media. So that kind of work, I like doing it. So I also do it on weekends aside from weekdays.
We cook together.
What kind of food are you cooking? Do you cook?
We cook a lot though. Mostly, I recently bought a takoyaki maker. I feel like every month we eat takoyaki, and I don't think any of us can eat takoyaki outside anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually like invite friends and then go to the grocery together to buy ingredients and come back and have takoyaki.
The best experiences I've had here in Okayama is more on inside the house or our apartment or those times when we used to live in shared house. So these are the times when most of us would be together and eat together, and then we just talk with each other about a lot of things. So when we talk, we learn a lot about each other and our own countries. So it seems like a simple dinner, we just eat. But then the thing is, what's really good about it is that it gets very insightful. So like as the time passes by and it becomes like sometimes it can reach like early in the morning. But then we kind of really learn a lot about politics, all the things that we usually do back in our own country. And like we kind of compare
Language.
The language. And then sometimes we could think of like things like, oh, in our country it's like this, but then in their country it's not. So it's like it's very different in a way. But besides this, we kind of also see how we're very similar despite being in different countries. It doesn't matter if we're in Southeast Asia. It doesn't matter if they're in like East Asia. It doesn't matter if like they're in America or somewhere. But then like we still get to have our own similarities which we can bond with. So I think that's what's really great. And also I think that's what GDP is all about. It's all about uniting different cultures and countries to help us better understand each other in our own...
And kind of the world also.
Yeah, and also the world, yeah.
All of my personal favorite memories are centered around food. One event I really enjoyed, I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it's the one I'm thinking of right now, is actually when we had a Christmas feast on the night of Christmas Eve. So actually, it's a Filipino tradition to actually have dinner on Christmas Eve, and traditionally right after Christmas Mass. But since we're away from family and Christmas break actually starts on the day of Christmas itself, I kind of wanted to replicate the feeling. And because it's Japan, like there's so many different ingredients, different food, and not everyone really has an attachment to Christmas as an event. Like it's treated as a very different celebration here. But when we tried to put together a dinner and we invited our friends and we all cooked different things or bought different food and had them on the same table, and it was just a room of a lot of fun and people eating, and that gave me a very warm feeling, which is even though I'm far from home and this day is usually spent with family, I felt very at home. So that was a very nice memory for me, that even though I can be far from home, I still feel like I belong here, even with people of like really different sorts of people. It's a very warm memory. When I came to Japan, I really had the goal of returning, because my motivation is go abroad and better yourself and learn a lot of things and then try to apply it back home. Because even before I came here, there are some problems at home that I feel like I want to be solving in the future, and that my time in Japan is really more of a experience to like get out and try to think more out of the box. So for now, that's like the only concrete thing, because I also don't know if I'll take further studies here, if I'll try to work here a bit. But for me, what's certain is that I will be returning.
I'm also not sure if I will be doing further studies such as like
Master.
graduate studies. Yeah, I am actually very interested in culinary. Back when I was in senior high school, because the education in the Philippines for grade 11 and 12, we're supposed to choose our own tracks on which kind of course we would like to take. So for example, Mattie is taken the STEM track.
STEM track.
So for me, I took the culinary arts track. So my major subjects were mostly based on culinary. Mattie's major
Mine was
subjects was
like biology, technology.
yeah, so more on the sciences. So for me, I am thinking that maybe after I graduate, I'd love to stay and maybe learn about culinary. But other than that, I'm not really sure if I'd like to stay here or if I wanna go to a different country to study culinary, or if I'd like to stay here and actually try to work a bit and gain some experience, and then actually try to think from there what else I'd like to do in the future. So in Japan, my message to everyone is it's not impossible. When I actually was applying for it, it kind of felt surreal. I kind of felt like, oh, am I really gonna study in Japan? And it didn't feel real. I'm actually gonna be studying in Japan for university until I actually landed in Japan. So like every step of the way, it's like a very nervous kind of feeling. So you kind of doubt sometimes, like, am I actually really gonna get there? Like, is there something wrong that's gonna happen? But then my advice would be just take it one step at a time. Actually, just keep moving forward. You can feel anxious, you can feel really nervous about it, but then that shouldn't stop you from actually keep on moving and keep on trying to better yourself and make a progress rather than staying where you are and being afraid. I think that's the whole message, I feel like, yeah.
For me, it's just really, if the opportunity is presented to you, you have to, for me, just take it. Honestly, like, studying in Japan is a really big dream of mine. And I thought I was not capable, more because it's financially out of reach. But because I got a scholarship, it was like the go signal that, you should just keep going. And you have to also hold on to the interest you had at the beginning, like what she said, like just also hold on to your courage and just keep trying, even if, especially during the college application process, you'll doubt yourself so many times, like, am I really good enough to be going to Japan? Or even before you pass, can I really do this? Is it worth my time? I say just like try it. Because once you, at least if you try, and even though you don't get it, it will be a process wherein you learn more about yourself. And another thing, if you're actually set on going to Japan, I say that you should already try to learn at least some basic Japanese, because if you come here and you're completely clueless, it's sometimes very uncomfortable feeling. So that's one of my advice.
Takoyaki are made with flour. It's made with flour and a lot of other ingredients such as ginger. I don't know what they're called. The green stuff.
It's like a ball of batter
Butter,
with vegetables
and meat. And taco.
Taco. Squid inside.
Squid or octopus?
Octopus.
Squid.
Ika.
Octopus. It's octopus.
Octopus. Squid
But
is-
what do we usually buy?
But then sometimes, like, if we can't find taco. Sometimes if we can't find taco, we use sausages. There was a time we even used tofu. Sometimes we put crab stick.
Yeah, crab stick.
And
a lot
then-
of cheese and
And
kimchi.
cheese and kimchi.
So you can put everything we want.
It's takoyaki with a twist.